Okay, so I just populated some tester stacks here to test if we take more stones and, well, if we take the max amount of stones into our grid here, our next grid is a 14 stack, so it shouldn't allow us to lock in just one stone. I'm pressing enter and it doesn't allow us to do that. So I think we might be good for that. That's where I was worried would crash it. But now let's go ahead and actually implement a capstone crush. So we allow a capstone crush if we are no longer off grid, right? And we press enter. What is it? Right here. So, for example, in movement event 4, if we are off grid, yet we have only a capstone in our hand, then we're actually not off grid because a capstone can move on top of a standing stone. Hold on a sec. Yeah, okay, so this isn't actually when we dump the stone. It just allows us, it allows the legal move of our next grid to become true again. But that's actually not right now that I'm thinking about it. If it's a capstone, that's, how do we test this? Like, you know, this, let's just put a capstone and a capstone here. Okay. So this one is legal move false. Yet it should be true. Because a capstone can crush it. So we actually forgot an instance where a capstone can crush. Now, we do have it to where for example, no, this isn't what I wanted. I want to move, and we can't render. We have to fix rendering capstone on a laystone of the same color because we still can't see that. But we have a capstone here, and we dump all but our capstone. We are allowed to dump there. So that's working. But if we just pick up a capstone, we need to somehow say, hey, the surrounding grid here should actually be a legal move. So this is in a movement event 3. So I think that's where we do our capstone crush function. So we should really have done that better. Movement event 3. Actually, we do it upon a movement event 2, which is when we lock in how many stones we have. So we need to do something here. Let's take a look at our capstone crush function. So it is, you know what, this should be working. Because it's asking, hey, do we have one occupant, and is that one occupant a capstone? And then if so, it checks the corner cases and the edge cases, and it will set that to a legal move true. So I'm wondering where that's messing up. So movement event 3 is where we need to determine it. But it's a little trickier than that, because it's actually right here. We're in movement event 1. As soon as we click on this, it's running that capstone function, and we have a mouse occupants. Okay, so that maybe that's where it goes wrong, because before we click, we don't have the mouse occupants in our hand. So I think it's not able to overwrite that legal move false with legal move true, but no, that isn't the case. If empty grid surrounding, so what's our occupants? Okay, we aren't running this capstone crush in the right place. Aren't we? It's a little complex, but we have here, if we press enter, we're asking if there is an empty grid around us, because if there is, I don't even get what we're doing here. Empty grid surrounding. So if there's an empty grid around our movement origin row, then we're going to go ahead and ask if we are illegal move to falsify that illegal move if our milestone occupants plus that grid's occupants is greater than 14. Okay, I guess that makes sense. But then, so that'll falsify any spaces with more legal moves, but then this should return a legal move true on the index so all we do is pass in a movement origin row, and then at that point, I believe, for example, the test we just did would be a middle case. So if we're not on the edge, then if the grid to the bottom of us is a standing stone, then the grid to the bottom of us gets legal move true. So I'm confused why this isn't working. This looks to do exactly what we needed to do. Because our origin row locked in would be a middle case, and then it's going through and saying if that stone control is a standing stone, flip us to a legal move true, which it's actually not doing it. Now we do have a stone control of a standing stone there, yet picking up this doesn't, it's a legal move false here. So I guess we're falsifying. Where are we falsifying our legal move at this point? Where would we be falsifying our legal move? We wouldn't be doing it here because we don't have that many occupants there. Update stone control and stack control only updates a variable, doesn't flip a boolean. And before we select the first movement grid, we need to have that movement grid selectable by a legal move, so it should be over here. Now I'm curious, this function just seems to not be working at all. I mean, yeah, it seems to be not working at all. Because if we take this out, we take out our capstone crush function, and we look at what happens. Yeah, nothing seems to be different. Yeah, nothing seems to be different. So our capstone crush function is just not working at all. And it was only supposed to be, it was only supposed to be in this one movement event. So that's kind of silly. We messed up that entire function. But we pass in the movement origin row, the movement origin column. So when we do our function here, we do those parameters. Yeah, we should have, by the time we hit enter with one capstone in our hand, our mouse stone's occupants should be 1 and our mouse stone's stone control should be capstone. Then we're asking, you know, depending on what we locked in this case was a middle case, we locked it in. Then we're going to check every grid around us for a stone control of a standing stone. And if it is a standing stone, at this point, we need to flip to leave move true. So yeah, this whole function just is not working. Which, looking at all the lines of code and for none of it to be working is kind of disappointing, but where are we messing up? Let's try the corner cases and see if that's actually working. Well, we've got to turn on our function again to make sure. Now let's see. So if we have a capstone up here and we're surrounded by those, we are actually able to pick this up. But once we pick it up, we can't put it anywhere. Oh, you know what? Yep. No, we're done. We're broke. I thought it was because I didn't lock in the movement event, but this is exactly what's going on. So if you look at the, well, let's see. We're at movement event 1. Now we pick this up. We go straight to movement event 3. So our movement event 2, which is our capstone crush logic, just isn't even getting a chance to render. Huh. So instead of, we've got to actually run our capstone crush. Yeah, okay, so what's happening here is we're not actually running either of these code, because right here we swap to movement 3 right away with one occupant, because if you have only one occupant in your hand, you don't have to lock in the amount of stones you have, which is this whole movement event, because you can only, you have one and that's your only option. If you chose to pick that one up, that's the one you picked up. So we just moved to movement event 3. So what we actually need to do is put this once right here, and then we can actually leave this off in the other places, and then we'll actually be able to, it should actually work now. So let's see. We're surrounded by standing stones. Now, we are still allowed to pick it up, which should be true, because a capstone can crush it, but now a standing stone is able to be dropped upon. So we fixed it, but now let's get the stone underneath to flatten into a lay stone instead of just staying the same. So we can take this out. We can take this out. Now, at what movement event do we actually need to crush our standing stone? And the thing is, with a standing stone, since it can only be crushed when a capstone's moving by itself, as soon as we click, see, and this is actually just a design decision. As soon as we click to lock in the place, there's an option, like us as designers can choose to force the player to dump that stone and lock it in to advance, because that's the only legal move at that point. But I kind of like the making the player manually lock it in for multiple reasons, but if we click this and drop it and then pick it up, the question is, do we want to revert it? Do we want to squish it, then revert it, and then squish it, then revert it, then squish it, and then lock in the squish? Probably. But also once we flatten it, it needs to be flattened because that's the only legal move. So like you can't advance without dropping it. So it's just up to us, I guess, what we want to do. Let's just get it flattened first, then we'll worry about unflattening it if we take it out. Because yeah, it would be flattened because, yeah, maybe we just keep it flattened because you have to put the capstone down there. Yeah, let's just figure it out. What movement event was that? So in a movement event 4, when we press down or up, that's when we need to squish it. So movement event 4, when we press down or up. So movement event 4, when we press down or up. Now this is where we need to actually squish it if it was in fact a capstone crush. Now we have capstone crush logic down here upon enter being pressed, but that's for the next move. Well, it's asking, yeah, that's once we dump a stone, if the one in our hand at that point would be a capstone. So yeah, we just need to do it here. We need to say something like, we still want to drop the stone in that column for sure. We just want to update the grid probably before we drop the stone on there. We want to update the members of our topmost stone type field, or stone control, no, yeah, stone type field to be equal to that of a laystone. So let's go ahead and say if down is pressed, if our mouse stones dot occupants is 1, and we've done this many times, is 1, and our mouse stones dot stone control is that of a capstone, then we know this is a standing stone crush. And then what we need to do is, before we place our new stone on top, we need to update the grid at our first movement row, first movement column. Now we need the members table here at the index of the topmost stone, which we'll fill in, but we'll put stone type. We'll get, at this point, we're gonna make sure, see, and there's another check we could do. We could say if it's a standing stone, then we'd switch its stone type, otherwise don't worry about it because it's already a standing stone. Or we can just brute force everything to be a standing stone once we place it on there. That's just a design decision. Stone type would get laystone at that point. Now, the members we want here is actually the grid that we're going into, but the dot occupants field. So however many occupants are in there, that's the index of the stone we want to change into a laystone. So let's see if that line crushes our standing stone into a laystone. Wrong. Okay. It does. Now when we pick it up, it stays a laystone. Now we could either leave it like that or we can re-revert it. But in order to re-revert it, we would need to keep track of its original type, which means we'd probably need to add a field into our members and then keep track of it. So I'm kind of erring on the side of just, you know, maybe we play a special sound when it's a crush. Yeah, maybe we play a special sound when it's a crush and then just force them to crush, because like you can't not crush at that point because you only have one. You've already locked in your square to place it in, and it was a top stone of a capstone or a standing stone, so let's just lock it in there. So I do want to play a slightly different sound for a crush. So we can say sounds at our crush. We don't have the sound yet, but we would run the play function on that sound. So we can go ahead and add, we can get us a sound here. I kind of like that. It is like a big crumble effect. I don't know which one of these works. Okay. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it does. It's like, part of me doesn't want to show this on stream, but also like, I'm just trying to show how I'm making the game, so if this is how I'm making the game, it's whatever. It's taking forever. I feel like there was a way to kind of modify the URL to just download it, but I'm not remembering it. Really? We should just rip with YouTube DL, but then it's not really MP3 format. Here we go. Uh-oh. It's kind of sketch. I don't think I trust this site at all. Yeah. Maybe I'll add this off stream. I thought it'd be easy to just rip it real quick. Oh, this really sucks. Downloading shit. Okay, I'll figure out how to rip it with YouTube DL, but I'm pretty sure that'll just rip it as an M4A. These used to work. Now they're all sketchy. Okay, well. I think I just want it. Guess they just don't like it anymore. Let me see if I got YouTube deal. But not in this directory. Let me go to... I don't have YouTube deal. I wonder, oopsie. I'm surprised it worked. Guess Homebrew's got it. Let's see. How to YouTube DL MP3. -X command. Here we go. This is what we want. -X, audio format MP3, then the video URL. So we can go ahead and try this after YouTube deal finishes. It doesn't like our old. Okay, cool. So let's try this. YouTube DL X to download only the audio. Our audio format will be that of MP3. And then we paste our link and unable to extract. We don't have FFmpeg. This probably will take forever. This laptop, I've had this, not this laptop, this Big Mac. I call it the Big Mac. I've had since 2011. So it's 12 years old. And I think it's still kicking, like it's doing really great actually. I put a SSD in it and it ran like brand new once that SSD was in there. Because it was an old, slow HDD in there. Okay, I guess while that's going, let's finish. We need this logic on our capstone crush in every movement event. So every subsequent movement event where we say if down is pressed, occupants is greater than 0, the first thing we're going to do is check if we only have one stone and it's a capstone. But this isn't actually right. Oh, no, it is right, because nope, it is not right. We do want to say, we only play this sound if it actually crushed a lay stone. And right now we're just assigning a lay stone based on if a capstone moves into there, regardless of its current state. So if we say, if we're a capstone and the grid we're going into, which is the first movement row, first movement column, first movement column, if that grid's stone control is currently a standing stone, then we indeed need to swap to a lay stone. But then once we crush it to a lay stone, it'll be a lay stone, and then we don't actually play the crush sound again, even if we pick it up and put it back down. So that should be right. So let's go ahead and put this in our movement event 5, because we need it here too. And it's not the first, I believe it's not. I believe this is all our second movement now. Second movement row, because we've already locked in our first movement. Second movement, there we go. It's an easy bug to miss, but I'm glad we found it. And then, I mean, that's always the problem with copy and pasting. Not only is the redundant, but you could be copying over the wrong code. So we should have movement event 5 set for our capstone crush. FFmpeg looks like it's still installing, so let's go ahead and do movement event 6. Now we're also going to do this for our third movement. And we're going to say third movement. Okay. And then we can't capstone crush. No, yeah, we could capstone crush here as well. And that's the last place we could capstone crush, in movement 7. And this will be fourth movement. My new setup is in Vim. NeoVim can't be installed on my Mac because it's so old. At least on my OS, my Mac OS is so old. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to repartition this hard drive for this Mac and dual boot Linux on there, and then I think I'll be able to get my NeoVim set up on my Mac here, and because I want this to be my dedicated programming computer for streams at least. We failed to download this thing. Maybe we don't need that thing. Let's try. Nope. It says it's already been downloaded, but it looks like we downloaded a WebM of it. but we need a MP3. Okay, we've got a WebM of it. Let me just pop open, can I do... So sad is like how long it takes to get an MP3. It's like, just let me freaking get an MP3. How many tools I gotta use to get an MP3 around here? Audacity would probably have been easier than this, but look how long it takes to open Media Encoder. That's obnoxious. Oh my god. Adobe, give me a break. Can't have a third device. Even though I pay them 80 bucks a month, I can't use it on all my freaking computers. God, I hate that. I hate that so much. Try Audacity. And we can't. Yeah. Let's try that import raw data. Here we go. Let's try this. Sure. Hey, it worked. I spoke too soon. Oh. Use the restroom. I'll be right back. Figure this out. You know, I thought I had Adobe installed on this computer. Takes way too long to open, I swear to God. What? Yeah, was I sent it on my laptop? It's taking forever, man. It's like I just want a freaking sound. If I had, you know, if I wasn't already running OBS, I'd just screen record it, but... What is this? Desktop. Last launched 3 hours ago. Two years ago. This is... Maybe this is outdated. And then if I just sign myself out of my computer, I'll fix it. Okay, here we go. New project. Whatever. I just want to get an MP3. Just let me get an MP3, Jesus. Okay, we go to our home directory, and we can't import a WebM. I wonder if Media Encoder can handle it. We really can't? You can't convert that to a MP3? How many steps did it take to get a little sound, man? Really? A cloud convert? I just don't trust it. It won't let us. It's right here and it's not showing it. Not supported. Not supported. Even Adobe can't do it. I think it worked. Oh my god, so much crap on the screen right now. Okay. We've got an MP3. Okay. We've got an MP3. Let's call it Crumble. Now let's take it, put it in our repo, and tack sound effects. Source? No, it's music. Music. We put a crumble.mp3. So what we will do is go to our main here, which we don't even have open. We'll open main. And we'll import it right here. We'll say crumble. Crumble. Oh no, crush. That's what we did. Crush. Let's actually make it consistent. This will be crush. Okay, and then low.audio dot, oh my god, I'm trying to type without looking. New source, music, slash, crush, dot, MP3. Yeah, I'm going to be learning and switching over to Vim, NeoVim to be exact. And I'm going to be almost exclusively on the keyboard. That's the goal, at least. So we imported that MP3, the Crush MP3, and then we're actually playing it upon each movement event, but only if we drop a singular capstone into a grid that is a standing stone. That's the only time we play it. So let's see if that is working. We're looking for the sound and the actual visual of the standing stone getting turned into a lay stone. So we'll go here and we'll run our game and we'll test it. So let's listen for the crumble sound effect. Oh yeah! Maybe it's too loud, but it is kind of cool. Let's see if we shouldn't be able to play it more than once, even if we crumble it and then uncrumble it. Like, I think I heard it twice. Let's just see. We don't want that to happen. So, oh, we actually need to update our stone control based on our top stone type. So, we'll just do that. We'll update stone control for this grid, and then we're actually good. But in every, starting at move event 4, we need to do that. So, I'll say, by the way, update stone control for the occupant that we just did, so that it's no longer a stone control of a standing stone. Because even though our stone type changed, our stone control did not, so we just need to manually do that here. And then it's not the 4th movement row here, it's the 1st in this movement event 4. And then oops. Then we need to do this for the other movement in a 5. So here, I want to make sure we put that in the right spot. Yep. Okay, we want it right here. Update stack control, stone control for the next movement. This should have the effect of no longer playing it more than one time. We crush and recrush, and then yeah, it's like, I think it's almost like I want to not enable them to pick it up once I drop that one, but just stay consistent with the rest of the game. Every other scenario, we're allowed to pick it up. We could easily fix it, but I don't know, it's all design decisions, and it doesn't really matter. Because it forces the lock-in move anyway. Then if you change your mind, you can take it out, but you can't move on until you place it back in there, so. 7. Update stone control of our 4th. Okay. Now, it's a little too loud, so I want to set the volume a little lower, which is used like this. So maybe I want it, you know, not quite half as loud, but something not so loud. So starting at movement event 4, we're going to say to set our volume a little lower here. I don't think we have to set this every single time, but let's test it. We'll set it once here and play it, and then we'll test it if it gets louder on the other ones. So here is a test of our first standing stone crush with the sound. Nice. Okay, I don't know why it did that. It played the sound twice, but then it fixed itself. What? I'm going to look for stone control of this grid. It should switch to laystone as soon as I drop it. It does not. It does upon the second time we drop it. Okay, I know what we gotta do. We've got to update our stone control after we assign our new stone type. Because that makes sense. And then do it here too. Because yeah, it's not updating. We didn't change our stone type so that our update stone control would even work yet. So that should fix it. Now let's do this again. And then the last one. Okay. Now let's try. Should swap our stone control right away as soon as we drop it. So we're going to drop it, look for that stone control to be laystone. Yes. That means it'll only play once, no matter if we take it out or put it in. Nice. So let's see if the other ones work. So let's give us some tester stacks here. Obstacles, tester obstacles actually. So we'll say give us, you know, we want a capstone at 1, 1. Let's just do it at 2, 2, 1. And then we'll give us, this will be 2, 2. We'll check that one first. Which we've already tested the first movement event, or movement event 4 rather, crush. So here's a movement event 1. Works. That one works, and then we can check the next grid. See if we actually would need to do this a little bit different. So let's say we give ourselves a tester stack, because we need it to be, in order for the capstone to move, it needs to be stacked on some stuff. So we'll say that 2, 1 now gets a couple of stones, and then we'll move our capstone on there and then test it. So we'll say now this is, if we hit enter here, we can't move because our next movement is actually a legal move false because it's a standing stone. However, if we have only one, we can press enter and lock it in, and then we crush. And it did sound like it got louder. It did sound like that one was louder. So I think we should set the volume for each one. We can do this by finding crush. And then anytime we play the crush, we select the volume to be a little lower. Yeah. Okay, now let's test our next grid. which is going to be a standing stone at the 4th column. We'll make sure that works. Oopsie. There we go. So if we have no stones, we can't lock it in, can't lock it in, can't lock it in, can't lock it in, until we have 1, then we can crush it. Cool. And then we can uncrush it, but it doesn't matter because hitting enter won't do anything. It's only when you actually dump it, it'll drop there. We got capstone crush, baby. Only took us like, what, a week? Let's try, I mean, before we celebrate, let's make sure the next grid, the last grid works. Then we can celebrate. Is that a weird? No, it isn't. Okay. I don't know how I accidentally did that. Oh. Yeah, we want this to be 5, not our occupants on our tester. There we go. Okay. So, can't lock in 0, dropped. Can't lock in 1, dropped. Can lock in... Oh, it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. I knew we shouldn't have celebrated too early. So it'll let us... It actually just advanced our movement event, which is a little confusing. That is in a movement event 6. Yeah, in a movement event 6, when we hit enter, we're skipping our turn and not even, we're losing that stone. So what are we doing wrong in movement event 6? Movement event 6. We didn't even do it for movement event 6. How did we miss that? Oh no, yeah, we did right here. Second movement. I'm pressing down. Movement 6 upon pressing down. Huh. I don't see what's wrong. Third movement row. Third movement row. Third movement row. Third movement row. Third movement column. We're not doing anything different. The only other I don't know why. I don't know why. Damn it, we're right there, dude. We're right there. Is it because we are not off grid? Let's check our we'll move this back 1 to the left, this standing stone, and we'll check if before we drop our capstone if it's an off grid false, because we should be off grid false. And that's, I think, why it's working. So if we check our off grid, true, 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 but if we have 1, oops. Huh. It's not until we lock it in. And then it crashes once we lock it in, so it's hard to see what's going on there. Shit, we're so close. I think it's because the off-grid would be would be true at that point. But the off grid is kind of for the next grid, but we're at the last grid we can possibly move. So I wonder if in a move event 6 we can just kind of manually change it to off grid false at that moment, because upon a capstone crush, I don't know if that'll work. So it's messing up here. Now what's weird is, does pressing down okay, no, it's in 7. It's in movement event 7 that the problem's actually happening. Yeah, it's in movement event 7 that problem's actually happening, and it's upon the enter press in the movement event 7, because if we put this back on, because it's a movement event 6 here, but as soon as we lock in one stone there in a movement event 6, as soon as we hit enter in a movement event 6, it goes to movement event 0. Why? So why does movement event 6, enter being pressed? See, this should... We would be off grid, and we would have milestone occupants of 1, and our stone control would be a capstone. So at that point, we should be no longer off grid. Oh, we're swapping players right here. We're swapping players right here. We shouldn't swap players right there. What do we do if we've got a capstone in our hand by the time we lock it in a movement event 5? Well, we don't lock it in. We lock in our next movement, and then we switch our movement event. We messed that up. So let's see what if enter's pressed and we're off grid here. If we're off grid, enter's pressed with this much, this is all the stuff we're doing. Somehow we messed this up. And then right here. So I'm just going to paste this here so we can see what we're missing. We do the off grid, so we don't need it. We do the stone control, stack control, and the occupied, so we don't need this. But we do need to lock in our new direction. So we will update our 4th movement direction. Vim would make stuff like this so much easier. Which is one reason I'm really loving it. I'll swap over to Vim in the next. I want to be kind of decently comfortable with it, so I'm not like embarrassing myself constantly with it, but I'll switch over when I feel confident with it. I'll switch over the stream to Vim, and we'll probably be on Linux at that point. But we need to move over our 3rd. Let us control find and option control find to do our 3rd. And we want to find Wait a second. Oh, we do it right here. This is where we messed it up. Yeah, this is where we messed it up. Let me just check what we do if we've dropped something. In this scenario, we do the same thing. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we need this block. Oopsie. We need this block here. We'll switch to movement 7 instead of swapping players, which was completely wrong. And then we don't need to run next move illegal because there is no next move. And then now we can. Shit. We got 2 ends here. Okay. Now, let's see if we can crush a stone all the way across. Can't lock in 2 stones. Can lock in 1, baby. Capstone crush. We did it. We did it. We did it. Now, we do it here in the last move. We don't allow us to pick it up once we've dropped it. Which kind of makes me think we should not allow us to pick it up after a capstone crush. So let's just implement that real quick. So the capstone crush is at least consistent. Then we'll call it a day. So we'll have a little boolean in our play state called capstone crush. Gets false, and we'll need to reset it to false upon a player swap and a board reset, which we're doing a reset board here, and a player swap right here will give us capstone crush gets false. And then when we actually crush, we're gonna say right here, when we actually crush, we're gonna say capstone crush gets true. Now, if capstone crush is true, we can't pick up a stone. So let's say this would have to be this, and capstone crush would have to be false. So if not, capstone crush cannot pick up a stone, and we flush it, or we make it true here. So this should enable us to drop it but not pick it up if it was a capstone crush. Now we just need to do that for each pickup, every subsequent pickup in a movement event. So pickup and not capstone crush. And then we also need to make capstone crush true in this scenario. So we say capstone crush gets true. And then we go to the next one. We say in here, capstone crush gets true. And not capstone crush for a pickup. And then last one. Oh, capstone crush gets true. And then we can't pick it up anyway, so it won't really matter. Because we don't have any pickup. Okay, so let's see if that worked. We should be able to crush a capstone but not pick it up in every scenario. I'm just going to test the first one and assume the rest are right if that one's right. So I'm just going to go to our tester. We're going to give us one that is only a couple stones away. Oopsie. Because it wasn't allowed on the grid 5 anyway. So Let's try. So, can't lock it in, can't lock it in, can lock it in. Now when we crush, we cannot pick it up, so it looks like it's working. We'd have to lock that in to switch the player. Instead of, I made that a conscious choice to not switch the player once your turn was over like that, just because it shows the movement, then it allows the player to lock it in. I didn't want the moves automatically switching to player move. I wanted it to be pretty explicit when we change players. So just for giggles, I'm gonna see that the next one also works. We have to assume that they still work upon further playing. For example, we've got one right here. Let's see. There's another bug I found. Another bug I found. If we've... Shit, man, that was another bug. Yeah, we were... Before... actually, hold on. Let me see. If we had a capstone on top of a standing stone, then by the time we pick up that stack... Actually... Why is that not working? Shit, man. Damn it. We found a little bug. I'm trying to recreate it right now to show you. So if we crush that bad boy, but then we have one over here, then we pick this up, drop one, lock it in. This is not a legal move, which it should be. But so why is that not working? If we have this same scenario from the get-go, which is a black stone with a white capstone on it. Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's not letting us. So if we pick up a singular capstone, capstone crushing is working right. But if by the time... Yeah, we'll have to figure out how to fix this. Because it works fine if we pick up a capstone first and then directly move that on top of a stone, a standing stone. But it doesn't work if we have a capstone on top of a stack. So we'll have to make sure that works. I'm not exactly sure how we do that. We'd have to... I don't know how we exactly do that, but that's next. But we almost finished it. We almost finished it today. At least the capstone crush, which is like the last main feature. Other than winning. But I want to say ensure capstone crush works when capstone on a stack and only capstone locked in. Now I thought that was good. I thought we fixed that with asking if we have one occupant and the stone type. But what's not happening is if we start with not one occupant and a stone type and then we drop a stone, even though we update stone control, I actually don't know why that's happening. Because every time we update stone control upon a drop, if we drop a stone, we update stone control. But oh, we don't update stone control. Okay, let me see this. We need to update stone control here as well. If we drop a stone, we need to update stone control, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. How did we not do that? Well, this is backwards anyway. Hold on. Why is that so backwards? was pressed. Yeah. Yeah, we just need to update stone control when we drop it anyway. So we drop it, update stone control. That should fix it, actually. We'll just make sure we do that. Drop it, update stone control. 6, update stone control. Drop it, update stone control. And then 7, we drop it, and we need to update stone control. Oopsie. If that works, I'll be really happy. Let's see. So let's try. Boom. Crush it. Now let's try to crush this one. So look, if we were to lock in 2, this would not be a legal move. But if we were to lock in 1, still not working. I thought that would fix it. I thought that would fix it. Shoot. Damn it. Let me see if I can debug it real quick. So right now, stone control, standing stone, black. We lock it in. Now, we need to, well, we're not updating. Oh yeah, we are. We're updating stack control, stone control. Now, if we've got, so look, stack control black, stone control, standing stone. So once we lock this in, once enters pressed in a movement event 2, movement event 3 rather, since we have 1 occupant and mouse stone control is a capstone, it should lock that in as true. I don't get why it doesn't. Oh, because in movement event 2 is where we're actually running the capstone crush function. So if we run the function in 3 as well, only when we drop a stone, we can probably fix it. Because right now, our capstone crush is only once here, but we also need to check if our movement event 3, if we drop our stones, we need to check if the stone we updated by dropping it becomes true. If our off-grid, or if our off-grid becomes false. Jesus, maybe that'll work. I don't exactly know. That's a movement. Not a movement event 3 though. We need it. Or not a movement event 4. We need it in a movement event 3, don't we? No, that's just select a first movement grid. Shit, I don't know. Let's just try it here. We press down. We also. See, but it's not playing the sound. It's not even letting us do it, so that's not the problem. It's in our movement event. Shit. We're so close, guys. We're so close. I think by the time we lock it in, I think by the time we lock in our stone, we need to run this again. Actually, do we lock in? Where do we lock in our next movement? We do it there. Shit. Let's do it there instead. So we lock in. Once we get our next movement, we're going to run our capstone crush here. Not our first movement row, but our second, right? Oh, we're not even updating. God damn it. We're just updating our direction at that point. Shoot, okay. Because it's not even allowing us to get to movement event 4, is that right? It's not even allowing us to get to movement event 4. Oh yeah, it's once we have more than 1 stone there. Okay. Yeah. Well, that one works. Hold on. Shoot. Okay. So we lock in 1. We're in our move event 2 still. What the heck? We can't. Oh, there we go. Move event 3 is just wrong. And what movement event are we right before that? Movement event 2. We are at movement event 2. By the time we lock in movement event 2, we need to update our Standing Stone Crush. So why is that not working? It's because we only do our Capstone Crush if we only have 1 stone in our hand. But we need to do it. If enter is pressed. Anyway, so if enter is pressed, let's just say we do it. And then maybe that'll fix it. So let us try. So as long as we lock in 1 stone, it's working. And we can crush it. Cool. So I think it was just... I'm not sure if that'll fix it for every instance, but let me just see. So we should be able to crush this bad boy, and then if we have here, we should be able to drop 1, lock it in, and crush this bad boy. Cool. I'm curious if... Oh, no, it's working. Yeah, it's working otherwise. Yeah, it's working otherwise. I'm pretty sure that fixes it. Because it was only screwing us when we picked up... If we pick up not... if we had more stones in our hand than just the 1 capstone, we weren't doing that capstone crush function, but now we are. So I think that fixes us. Tomorrow we're going to be doing some more serious debugging, try to really stress test our game and see if we can't find any more things that crash our game. Then we'll try to play a whole game from start to end. And if we can do that without crashing, then we're going to go add the win state, and then we're basically done with the game. You know, we can add a little thing like a little scoreboard where you keep track of how many, you know, every stone you have, every grid you have stone control over, you get 1 point, and then you could do like a best of 3 games. Then we can add, you place the opponent's stones first, maybe player names as well or something, I don't know. But then the game will be done. We're coming up on the end. I know I keep saying that, but this is really it. Let's take a look at our git diff here real quick. We added a new crush sound for our capstone crush. We added a boolean to prevent us from picking up a stone once we drop, from picking up a capstone once we capstone crush with it. We added a couple, you know, we were smarter about where we run our capstone crush logic. We allow a capstone crush and we play this volume in every single movement event. And then we fixed our stone control update for a capstone crush. And then we fixed a bug in our movement event 6, where if we press enter, it actually just swap our player instead of actually move our movement event. So that was pretty big. We can get at everything. The commit message saying added visual and audio capstone crush to all movement events. Booyah. Okay. We'll get pushed that bad boy. Look at that. It didn't ask us for the extra password again today, so that's cool. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll do that more extensive debugging.